Okay, the time has come, the 10th and final advanced Pong Scratch tutorial. Congratulations on making it this far. This final tutorial is just to give you some tips on how to set up the title screens and also to give you this checklist that you're seeing in front of you right now, just to make sure that you haven't missed anything. So again, do you have three unique levels that get more difficult as you go? Have you tested it for bugs and had others test it too? That's really important to have other people play your game. Do you have at least 10 to 20 comments? Great if you have more. And do you have instructions that explain how to play? So the instructions part is the one part that hasn't really been in my game so far. So that's what this final lesson is going to be about. So if you have all those, you are ready to hand this in. There's two different ways to do that. I'll show at the end how you would both share your link and how you would download the game and upload it to me for marking. So I'm going to ask that you do both since this was such a big project, worth a lot, obviously. Hope you also had fun making it. Okay, so we're back into our Scratch game here, and we are putting the final touches on that. One thing we haven't really touched on is the backdrops and how they come into play. We put that one backdrop in at the start, but other than that, we haven't really touched them. And I've told you that you need some kind of instructions on how to play. It's actually going to be fairly annoying to somebody if they have to sit through instructions just at the start of your game when they already know how to play. That's poor game design. So what you're trying to do here is you're trying to make it so people have the option of whether or not they need the instructions. So we had the sprites logo here. We've also got the backdrops here that we haven't used so much. I'm going to go just going through this menu. You can either choose one, paint one, get a surprise one, or upload one. I just want to focus on the upload a little bit because there might be some people who have really good Photoshop skills or maybe just use Microsoft Paint or whatever that prefer to create their backdrop somewhere else for their title screen and then upload it here. Or maybe you want to download an image from Google Images and then upload it here. So there's some ideas there. I'm not going to do that for the demo, but all you would do is download whatever it is and then upload it by clicking on this. It's very easy to do. And you can actually upload sprites as well. So if you found some sprite costumes out there, sometimes there's sprite packs. I told you that somebody did the entire Mortal Kombat game in Scratch. Obviously, they had to bring a lot of sprites into it. They didn't draw all the characters. So it's good to know that that upload button exists before we end this tutorial series. Okay, I'm going to go down to the paint option, and you're going to see what happens now is we now have a second costume called Backdrop 1. It might make sense if you rename that to title screen, if that's what it's going to be. Or maybe each level is going to have a different background. It doesn't have to stay as the neon tunnel just because I did that for mine. So my goal here is for this to be the title screen. Okay, so here's my title screen, and I'm going to go ahead and just write some kind of message onto this. Welcome to Advanced Pong. You don't have to write this, obviously. You can do whatever you want for yours. You can put your own image behind it if you wanted to. I'm not going to get into making it look pretty. I'm just going to get into like the basics of what you would be doing here. You can see right now that this is showing up on here with all these other things because we haven't asked any of those things to hide. So one of the things you're going to have to realize is that all of these things that you have in the game, you're going to have to, instead of having when the green flag is clicked, which now is showing up, it's going to be very distracting if somebody's looking at a title page while they have all this stuff going on, right? So you're going to have to go and hide these variables, hide the ball. Again, you go here to the ball, you go to the code, and you have like hide on the very first round. I won't take the time to do all that right now, but you can see how it says show right now. Right up here. It says show. Instead, you'd have a hide when the green flag is clicked. So basically, to get you started, you detach this from this. I know it's scary to detach it after you've done all that work, but when the green flag is clicked, you'd actually want that ball to be hidden, right? So this takes a little bit of work. We're going to hide it. And then we're going to show it once something else happens. We don't really know what that thing is yet, but something's going to trigger this changing, right? Okay, so let's go back to that backdrop again, and we'll go here. And you could say, for example, you could put in a sprite that you paint yourself, and that could be a piece of text that you draw that says, click here to start the game. So let's assuming somebody doesn't need instructions and they're ready to go. You want to give them that option to do that. So let's say I put that down here. Now the reason I did that as a sprite instead of just painting it on is because now I can know if somebody's clicked on that sprite, then I could actually start my game design. So here we go. We're going back to the original level here. And let's see if there's some kind of events when the sprite is clicked. I could broadcast something, for example. So this is only one way to do it. So if I went back to the sprite one and I said, when the sprite is clicked, I could, if you remember, we can make our own broadcast. I could broadcast something like start game here. Okay, so I'm going to broadcast start game, and what that allows me to do, it knows when somebody clicks on this with their mouse, I could go back to the ball here, and I could say, this is going to be when I receive start game. So let's just run that again, and I know I haven't hidden all the stuff yet, but you can see how the main ball is hidden now, and you can see that when I click on this, it's actually going to start the game, and there goes the ball. Okay, so you would have a whole series of things. For example, on the backdrop, you would have code for that when this is clicked, you would actually, under looks, you'd say switch to backdrop title screen. So that's going to get rid of the neon tunnel that we had before. And then over here for the ball, we're going to have to say for the neon tunnel to come out. So it looks again, switch to backdrop in here. Just going to stop this, switch to backdrop of neon tunnel. So again, if I stop that and I start that, we don't have the neon title right now, but when somebody clicks on this, and don't forget, we would hide this paddle, we'd hide the lines, we'd hide everything, so it just looks like a title screen. And then when somebody clicks on it, off it goes to the game. And now we have to hide this sprite instead, right? So that gets really interesting. So basically what you'd have here is when the sprite is clicked, broadcast start game, and then basically what you're going to do is hide the sprite. So because this title is the sprite itself, we would go down to hide from here and put that under here. So watch again so you start to get the idea of what happens here. We've got our title screen. We haven't hidden everything that we're supposed to yet, but we will. We'll click here to start it, and you can see that that's gone now. Okay, so that's the idea, is just kind of like maneuvering around and hiding things and showing things at the right moment. If you do that, you could have some really interesting backdrops. You could have a different backdrop for each level. I'd love to see that. You could have a congratulations screen. A lot of people do that. Right now we have a title screen in the making, but why not have a congratulations? That would be fantastic at the end, okay? Hopefully that's giving you some ideas without going through every step along the way, because that would take too long. I think these tutorials have been long enough already. So the final thing, go through your checklist again, make sure that you have everything you need in your game, and then you're going to do two things, okay? Number one, you're going to go to share, and you're going to go ahead and just make sure that you have a copy of this. So here we go, under comments, you can see we can copy the link down here, and go ahead and copy the link like so. And then what you're going to do is when you go into the Glen Ames Schoology here, and we go into the assignment, so courses grade 8, again, mine's going to look a little different than yours, but when we get to assignment 2, there's two things that I want you to do here. So assignment 2 is here, 2A is what you're doing. You don't have to do 2B if you did 2A. And I would like you to post a link in the comment area of this, of that Scratch game that you made. So for example, Control V like that makes the link to it, and that way other people can try it. I think that's a big part of it. But the other thing I'd like to do so that it actually tells me that you've handed it in, because if you just comment like this, it won't really tell me that you've handed it in. And I need a copy of the actual game to do it. So what I'm going to ask you to do is go back here one more time. And if your game's completely done, ready to hand in, again, I'm going to go to my folder here. We'll go to see inside to get back to it actually. There we go. And we can see our code. We're going to make sure everything's done. Make sure you have 10 to 20 comments as well explaining it. You have full instructions that are skippable if somebody already knows how to play. And you know everything's done. Go to File, go to Save to your computer. Just kind of pay attention where you're saving it to. It's probably going to go to Downloads if you're using Google Chrome like you should. And then up here, you're going to have a Submit Assignment button. When you click on the Submit Assignment, you'll be able to choose that file from Downloads, and Schoology will say that you've handed in the project. Obviously, this is a big project. It's worth a lot, so make sure that you go through the checklist before you hand it in. I hope you've had fun creating Scratch Advanced Pong. It's been a long journey, but I think it's also been very rewarding, and you'll be ready to go on to JavaScript and Python and actually typing out all the code after this, because you'll understand the logic behind how programming works. All right, guys, hope you had fun. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.